Okay, so let's talk about how to actually use a log. So it says logs and exponentials are inverses of each other. Okay, so if I have an exponential function, y equals b to the x, how would I find the inverse? Well, first, right, going back to what we talked about last unit, first we switch x and y. Okay, well, that's all great and dandy. Now we have x here and y here, but our second step was to solve for y. Okay, well, that leads us to the problem of how do I get y out of the exponent? Okay, well, y is the logarithm of x. And what that means is that, okay, the log of x is y. So a logarithm gets the exponent all by itself. So logarithm, once again, I'm gonna repeat this so many times, like you're going to know that a log gets a exponent by itself. Exponent by itself. Okay, so then if I introduce this logarithm, y is all by itself. Okay, b is always the base, which is super nice to remember. Look, b base, b base. Okay, and then x. So if I just remember, okay, that my exponent is always by itself, this is always my base, then this just goes here next to it, and we're done. So y equals the log base b of x. This is how we actually say that. So if you hear Miss Rose or any other human being say y equals log base b of x, Remember parentheses, we always use the word of. Okay, so now let's actually talk about how to go from logarithmic form to exponential form, because that's kind of what you have to do this whole unit. Majority of this unit is writing from log form to exponential form. And the word form has disappeared. Okay, so let's start by introducing log form. Log form would be y equals log base b of x. Okay, well, remember, this is my exponent, right? So then b is my base, y is my exponent, and x is what it equals. So b to the y equals x. So this is saying, okay, this b to this power equals x. B to this power equals x. It's just one form from the other. Okay. Notice that b is always the base, and I'm going to circle that. B, base. Use a different color. Okay. This is my exponent. I don't know what the other number is called, and I'm not going to lie about that. I actually don't know. I've just always said it's the leftover thing, and it goes in whatever spot's remaining. Okay, cool. So we've got that down. Now, before we go into some examples, let's talk about, it says when the base of the exponent is 10, so when b is 10, or if we have 10 to some power, right, the subscript is not written. They are common. It's called a common log. It's what your calculator has, right? I'm going to see if I can do this. So this button right here, it's base, there's nothing here. There's nothing there. It's all gone, nothing right there. The base is 10. It's called a common log. Don't know why, it just is. So the base is 10, okay? Next, when the base of the exponent is e, so if I have log based e, and you have more than welcome to watch the video about e, but we will talk about it when I get back. But it's kind of an abstract concept, just like pi, just like other numbers that just happen in nature. E happens in nature. And this logarithm is called the natural log, because it happens in nature. So e, base e, okay, is like approximately 2.71892, and I actually think I made up the last numbers. I don't know. But it's a number kind of like pi 3.141592 that goes on forever, and it happens in nature. Happens in nature. Okay. And and you can talk about it, or you can watch the video about it. And it's written, so this natural log, that's going back to natural log. So when the base of the exponent is e, so when my base is e, and it's a natural log, we call it ln. And I don't mean Ellen, the name Ellen as in Ellen DeGeneres or Ellen any other Ellens you know. It is ln. But this is how I tell my students to remember ln in the base. So ln, okay, the name Ellen starts with E. Well, ln's base is E. The end. Okay. So like, for example, natural log of 1, and that's 0. So the base here is 0. So e to the 0 power is 1. An example up here, log base 10 of 10 equals 1. Which makes sense because 10, but how we would write that, I'm sorry, a little bit jumbled here. But a common log, we would just write log of 10 equals 1. Well, my base is 10, so that would be written as 10. This is my exponent, 1, and it equals this number, which is 10. Okay, stop this video. That's just a brief introduction into how you go from log form to exponential form, and then we talked about common bases, common log, and natural log. The next video will actually go into examples of how to do one into the other, and then there'll be one final video for this lesson.